Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rena. If you're new here, welcome. I actually found today's lighting is perfect, so I'm not gonna have any lights helping me. We're just gonna get this natural light, and you see me with bare face, so we are getting ready with me. I'm gonna try to be a really nice and quick video today. The whole getting ready with me theme is random generate some makeup, which are here, but also I've got two products that I want to try as a first impression with you. They are the OXX Brown Sculpt, which is a pretty popular one recently in Australia. The cream and powder duo I've got in the shade Cool Browns. I've also picked up a setting spray, the Make It Stay setting spray. This is inspired by the MAC Fix Plus. I was doing a setting spray video that in that video someone asked me ever I tried it, and I was like, I didn't even know to have one. So that's what we're gonna do today, trying some new things and trying some random generated ones. If I didn't like anything that's random generated, I will just gonna declutter, which is the way I'm trying to do slowly to reduce my number of my makeup inventory. Also, I have a topic that I want to talk as I'm getting ready with me is about duping product, because I have Amco Beauty and Charlotte Tilbury, very similar packaging, and there's a big splash about it. But I've also got the OXX one, and I've also been using like the W7 one for years, and there are also duping brands, but no one actually have anything, really against it. So I think it's a very interesting topic. I'm gonna talk about both sides' opinion, what I can accept as bottom line, and what do you think? Without further ado, let's just get started. I'm gonna use a makeup primer by Sleek Makeup. This is the Mattifying Soft, the Focus Finish Primer. I don't know if this brand is still available. I actually got this many years ago at Big W. I believe Sleek is a UK brand. It feels really cool, like nice and cool. Let me see how mattified that it is giving me. Okay. My last step is the Dermaveen sunscreen. I've left it for a good half an hour. I was gonna film this video straight away, and then I went to put some of my key points on the cheat sheet, so when I'm going through them I can actually have an idea of what I want to say in such and such order. So the whole idea of me doing this topic is I saw Jen, I think, on her YouTube channel. She did a couple videos in similar ways talking about it, and I was like, wow, yeah, that is quite interesting. As a customer, I never thought about it because, I like to try different things, and there can be a dupe. Oh my god, that's even better. Like, maybe they're dupe, maybe they're not. Some of the dupe ones I only purchase because they claim it's a dupe, but I've never actually have the high end. That's just too expensive for me to purchase. Some I've got both, such as the contour worn and some eyeshadows, also a couple fragrances as well, and as a customer that I have both high-end and drugstore dupe ones, I have some thoughts as well. This one is really mattifying, but I don't think it's pore minimizing. It probably just covers a little bit. I'm currently having blemishes, scarring from the blemishes, because I went travel to Tassie and I didn't bring any, I didn't bring a whole lot of my makeup kit and skincare kit with me, so they're just taking their time because I missed the chance to treat them like when they're fresh. And with foundation, I am going to use the Maybelline Dream Satin Liquid Foundation and Hydrating Serum. I definitely don't think this is available either. That's the problem in my makeup stash. I hate waste products, saying, oh, this is no longer available, so let me toss it and just throw it away. I want to make sure that I don't like it. I've got it in the shade 27 Class Beige, which I think it's probably a little bit dark. I've used it maybe twice. So this is the shade. Oh, I think this is dark. So what I'm gonna do, my concealer is the Marc Jacobs Extra Shot, a brand that is no longer existed. Thank you so much, Rena, for random generate all this random stuff. I've got in the shade Light 140. I do hear people saying, oh, they're coming back, maybe from last year or even the year before, but they're never actually coming back. And I did pick up a slightly lighter shade, and I was thinking, because this is such a big one, maybe I can use it as a multi-purpose concealer, mixture, and foundation. So this is the color of this one, definitely a lot lighter. I am going to mix them up. and it will give a little bit more coverage because I know the Marc Jacobs one have definitely a higher coverage, and I'll see how I like about both. But by just looking at a shade, I do feel like the Maybelline one should get out of my collection, you know, but I'm trying to hold on to it since I have like makeup such as Marc Jacobs ones that can help me to neutralize it. Alright. I might actually need a little bit more. Hopefully I can skip my concealer by using the Marc Jacobs. Speaking of the dupe, I think one of the main thing is we need to know the definition of dupe. When I first heard dupe, it's definitely through makeup videos, and is where people found something out of blue, a product that's very similar to another viral product, and oftentimes there's a price difference. The thing they found as a hidden gem is much affordable than the one that is well known, that is popular on the market. So usually it's a drugstore versus a high-end. These days I found there are dupes, people talking about the texture similar or the color is similar, or both has to be the same to be classified as a dupe. In my opinion, it's either the texture or the color or both. And obviously they should have a price difference. But now, me looking at the definition of a dupe, I think even the price is similar, if they're performing similar, it can still classify it as a dupe. And then it's just up to the customer to decide which one they want to go for. One might be cruelty-free, one might not. One might be vegan, the other one might not. So there is still a reason to call it a dupe. Not just because the price difference, and not just because one is much affordable than the other. But that is definitely my initial key factor of calling it a dupe. It has to be one much cheaper than the other. So usually like drugstore versus high-end brand. That is one layer of this foundation, and I think their area that is not really kind of like blend in very well. The coverage is definitely there. I just turned the mirror because I really need to see a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is to mix this with something I didn't random generate, something I am still secretly working on, the Max Factor Radiant Lift Long Lasting Radiant Concealer, which I pretty much the very last leg of it. I'm going to squeeze this out and, oh, actually there's a lot. I thought I might, like really I'm at the bottom, but there's still a lot coming out. And just adding a little bit more onto my face as a second layer. So I like the finish of this concealer. It's definitely a glow finish and it feels like my skin's not dry out, and yet it was actually having just a light coverage. As a concealer, it might not be everything I needed, but a lot of times I've just been using a concealer dotted all around my face like what I'm doing now. So I'm also going to change from the sponge to a big padding sponge like this and just dab all around my face. So since the duping definition is being defined by me, I don't know if the same as everyone else, but that's how I'm understanding dupe. And it's also a common knowledge that this is not the first year or the first time we see something duping, one brand duping the other. We've seen this for a long time. The first brand I think I've seen that is, I know this brand is known for duping others, is W7. So they have mascaras duping the Benefit Mascara, brows duping the Benefit Brows, concealer duping the YSL, eyeshadows duping ABH, and obviously other things, but I might not know everything. And they're not actually just duping high-end. They're also duping Maybelline because they're even more affordable than Maybelline. And I don't think I've ever heard, or maybe I'm out of the loop, people saying, oh, we are going to against the brand because they're duping a high-end. It's not ethically nice to do it. People should stay away from it. And they do have similar packaging, not identical though, not identical, but their Tucci Elite concealer, which they don't call it, are identical. They have the silver pen packaging and have a pen sort of looking brush, and you not twist, you press it down to get the product out, and that's been fine. And I've used both of them. Actually, I don't like any. Like, none of them is my favorite. So I was like, okay, I'm not going back for any of these. But it's been there out for many years. What I think really making a huge noise this time is because the packaging are identical. If you're looking at the setting spray from Emco Beauty and the setting spray from Charlotte Tilbury, they're very, very similar. Even with the logo design as well, it's too similar that people start to get annoyed, especially the high end, because they design everything at the start and now people are using it and people are drawn away. The customers are not purchasing the high end, purchasing something similar. But is it really because of the packaging? That is my first thought, because packaging might draw me to purchase something to start with. However, if the performance is so horrible, it actually redirect me back to the high end and make me much more loyal to the high end, because I was like, okay, now I learned my lesson. DUPE product is bad. They don't only copy the packaging. There's nothing good inside. But why people actually choosing the DUPE one over and over again? It's probably because the product inside is also good enough so that they're willing to spend less money getting something similar of a product that is similar to a high end. I hope that makes sense. And now my face is all kind of set. It's definitely a little bit darker than what I like, so definitely foundation's out. I am going to do the testing pad of the OXX Brown Sculpt. So we have a cream on top and then we have a powder at the bottom. So I am going to just use my hand. Should I do a spool? Should I do a brush? I think I'm gonna go with my hand first, just to, oh, very creamy, wow, and just kind of to draw a line to where I want it to be. I don't think this is very nicely drawn, but I definitely want it to be here, and I want it to be here. And let's use the sponge to blend it out, just to see how it feels. It's very easy to blend out. I actually think I might need a little bit more because I think it's pretty subtle. It's not too bad. It definitely gives a bit of contour already. And now I'm gonna use the brush and to run over the area, and also I'm gonna do around my nasal. So that's how it picks up. I don't know if you can see, there's definitely some kicking. It's a pretty warm bronze. Nice. It's not too warm. I don't want it to go orange. It's not. So let's see how it looks on the... Ooh, okay, maybe I should just add my brush a little. Okay, let's see if I can blend it away. Oh, did you see that? I think that's my foundation. Oh god. Okay, disaster. Alright, I'm gonna try it very lightly, brush through. I actually found it's a bit hard to blend it on top of the cream product. Like, it just sits right on it and it's looking a little bit not so pleasant. Okay, alright, I'm gonna try just the powder and over my nasal just to see how that looked. Because if that looks okay, that means, okay, that doesn't look really nice. Alright. Yeah. I'm kind of like, what am I gonna do now? Oh, okay, little is more. This side has less product left on my brush. Definitely looks better. Okay, alright. It's looking actually a little bit muddy. Alright, foundation puffer. Let's just kind of cover it. Okay, now I think that's looking better. I still like the shade, but I think next time when I'm using it after the cream, I'll set my face with a translucent setting powder, and if I want to add more powder on it, I'll do it afterwards, because I can still see there's a huge patch here. Okay, but when I'm looking in real life, I think it looks slightly better, but in camera, oh my god, I'm sweating now because it's so obvious. Alright, we're gonna go with it. I'm really impressed with the cream powder. I wish this, I've got it in a cool tone, right? If it can go a little bit even more, less orangey, that will be better. I know I watched Tanika's video and that's why I picked this product. I can't say it's a super lot for now, especially the combination. But I'm gonna set the rest of my face with my random generated Makeup Forever Professional Setting Powder. And going back to the whole conversation of duping, I'm pretty sure the OXX bronzer, the one that I just tried, is also a dupe of such and such high-end, which I don't even know. Makeup by Mario, or maybe like Patrick Tarte or something, because they came out with a lot of dual product, like complexion product. I'm using another fluffy puffer just to kind of press the powder in and to set my entire face. So this is where a good example now, I'm really interested to see what's the high-end ones offering, because this is not like, wow, I love it straight away. So I kind of getting curious to see maybe the high-end will be better. And this is where I don't feel like the high-end should be worried, because if the drugstore one's not that good, maybe the shade, like I like the cream, and I like the powder, but I don't think the shade is perfect match. I might even look into the high end because they often have a better shade range. If they don't, oh, obviously that's too bad. You're expensive and you have less shade range. What are you doing? So that is something they could improve, and to redirect the customer from trying something affordable and end up being your customer. It's a perfect opportunity for them to doing it, instead of not happy with just the packaging copy or the combination of product copying like this one. But nevertheless, it's a great start for me to spend less money to get into something like this. And I now it's like, okay, now I'm gonna keep my eye on things like this, you know, potential customer gained. The Makeup Forever setting powder, it's pretty nice. It set everything in a pretty matte finish, and I really enjoy that. I'm gonna use my Australia's makeup finishing sprays just to quickly set my face before I move on to the next step. And I usually just fan myself. They have pretty big droplets, relatively big droplets, but it feels really moisturizing. I'm gonna let the setting spray set a little bit, do my brows after camera, and I'll be back. Back from doing my brows. I'm looking super bold at the moment. We're gonna test out the blush and the highlighter. I've got the Savvy by Designer brand blush. This is in the shade Nude. I think it's another one that is no longer available. I'm using an old product that discontinued today. Wow. So this is the one, got a little bit of shimmer in it. I actually quite enjoyed it. I've also got another one. It's like a full matte one. For a while, I think Savvy by Designer brand is gonna really make it up, because it's like a sub brand. Wow, very intensive of designer brands. But designer brands kind of just like trying to do their own brands now. Designer brands is another one very popular here in Australia, especially by their fragrance. I don't think their makeup's making huge a splash compared to the fragrance, but I'm not a fragrance person, so I actually like their makeup more, and I have a lot of their makeup that I think are really, really good. I know it's looking really bold. I'm just gonna brush it through. Bear with me. And they're known by duping fragrances. So what I do is like, this is a such and such a fragrance, inspired, name of their own fragrance, inspired by such and such a high end, and then it's only retailing for $10. So people like to try it, and I never heard any high end say, oh, you can't inspire, because I guess inspire me is not necessarily dupe, but with a similar scent to it. I always think I'm gonna declutter this blush as well, but I'm gonna see how the overall look turns out. So keeping in mind at the moment, could be a potential decluttering. And then for highlight, I've got the AOA Wonder Baked Highlighter in the shade Cloud. This is something I compared in one of my recent Japanese Get Ready With Me video. They're obviously not identical, but they have a similar vibe, if that's something you like. I'm just gonna use the same brush. This is quite intense. It's an icy color. I do found if you, very intense, wow. If you are trying to duping a high-end brand, copying their packaging like exactly the same can be a little bit not so nice, you know. Ingredients is out there. You make your own formula based on what you can see from their ingredient. But the packaging, even the look of it is copying. That is like copy, like copycat copy. And I do found that is sometimes can be annoying, especially if I design my packaging such and such, and someone came up with their own without spending too much of effort. Obviously, you're just trying to think how you dupe it. I will be annoyed. But also part of me will be like, okay, let me see your product, because I am also very confident in my own product. I won't be just confident in my packaging. It's the packaging is not what's selling people, it's the product selling people, right? So I would really want to just see whether your product is doing the same. And back in the days, the drugstore won't be able to do that, so the high end is always fine. Now the drugstores are able to do it with a much affordable price. High end are freaked out. Some of them are absolutely defending themselves. But have you ever think about why people going away from you? Because you guys have similar packaging, giving people the choices like, oh, this is such and such product. And then that more cheaper one also having a really good performance. Maybe they never tried a high end, but they're already happy with the performance. Sorry, I think the light just shifted. Maybe they tried a high-end one and then they were like, oh my god, it's even similar. So they will not go back to the high-end. And I think the ultimate decision making is because that product is very, very good. So packaging could be a start, but at the end of the day, it's the product. And when it comes to the product, a lot of time it's because that one is more affordable. So it is about the price. It is about the money. Why is becoming such a big deal? People are cutting off the budget of spending on makeup or non-so-essential things to stay alive. I even cut up one of my most well-used supplements for the entire last year, and that's me cutting off $25 for 2 months. That means I can only cut off less than $200 the entire year, and yet I still made the decision I am not purchasing that supplements because it's not core essential and I want to save that money for better use. So that is not a lot of money, but people are still making a decision. And I personally think I don't make little money. I'm pretty happy with my job, with everything that I've already got. I'm not struggling and I'm still making adjustment. Imagine if they are struggling or having kids, which school fees can be expensive if you're going to private school. Who doesn't want to give them a better environment, or kindergarten or school trips or family trips? I've gone one family trip, just went to Tassie. I also had my own trip to February to Japan. I will have another one at the end of the year. So I need to plan this. Money are essential and money are not easy to get these days, but easy spend. So people are definitely cutting the budget off. And maybe that is one of the other reasons. They might stop buying from you at all if they didn't have a dupe. But now there is a dupe out the market and they still want to treat themselves. So they decided to go with a more affordable one. So I don't feel like, obviously, duping packaging, I think it's not the best thing to do. But maybe that's not the main reason. And that is definitely not the whole entire reason why people are going away from some high-end ones. And similarly, another one that I want to talk about is the Emco Beauty Instant Beauty Wand and the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Wand. I've got both of these. I've got this one first. And I was like, oh, this is a matte product. It's interesting, good beginner friendly one to use the whole idea of twisting wand. Is very interesting. And then I got this later on, and when I tested it, I was like, wow, I know why Charlotte Tilbury is having Hollywood wand as such best-selling product, because it's truly better than Emco Beauty. And for me, I was able to use both of this, but I'm definitely not recommending this is a dupe. I could only say it's a very similar product, but I like this one better. If you have the budget, you want to save yourself a treat, do get this one. And Emco Beauty is not cheap all the time. So I'm not considering it as an affordable dupe. It's only because, like the setting spray, I do think it's performing better, and it's just happened to be cheaper, even full price compared to Charlotte Tilbury. And they sometimes have sales as well. So although they are duping, I'm not definitely just drawn to this one. I actually like this one better. And for that reason, I like this one even more because it's like, I see why you are the high-end one. I hope that kind of makes sense. And I've done my highlighter. Let's gonna move on to my eyes. I am going to use the You Can Be eyeshadow palette. This is the Magic Spell eyeshadow palette. They have 18 shades in here. It's very beautiful packaging and internal as well. They have mirror and have this like magic spell, like a mirror on the wall situation. I am gonna to do my eye look, lashes, liner, nothing new, and we come back with lips. I'll also show you what I end up putting on my eyes, and we're also gonna wrap up the topic. It's definitely getting darker. I think there's clouds coming, so I've turned one of my overhead light on. Nothing else has changed. I've done my makeup and I think it's a very basic eye look. This is the eyeshadow palette I'm trying to do no pen left behind, and then I'll decide whether I want to keep it or not. At the moment, I'm definitely not a favorite in keeping it, but I want to try a little bit more. So with the eye look today, I have used Bewitchment as my base color, which I think is pretty much all covered by now. Then emphasize a little bit with Invisible as well as Evil at the bottom here, just to give the outer line a little bit more something. Then for the shimmer shade, I used the shade The Spell to cover the outer side of my eye, just to add a little bit more color. I used Cure, the pink one. I didn't add that much pink, but definitely a little bit, but not a whole lot. Then for the inner corner, I went for Wizard Dry, this shade at the inner corner, because I've got the Mongolian inner corner, which is an Asian thing, so I can never make the pop-up eyes look, but I still try it. The overall eye look, I don't hate, but it's a very common one that I can get a lot similar eye looks and maybe even easier and better pigmentations from it. The matte in this eyeshadow palette is definitely really just standard, or maybe a tiny bit below average. I need to play with it a little bit more. The shimmers are good. They're creamy, they're nice, they're pigmented. I want to see how long they're lasting for, whether they will create any creases on my eyelids as well. And I want to play with the fun grains a little bit when I'm wearing a little bit more clothes appropriate to it. So definitely a palette that I will no pen left behind, or at least try to, and then make a decision whether I want to keep or leave. You Can Be is another brand that is known by copying or inspired other ones, which I don't know what is this particular eyeshadows from. Like I said, I don't know, but I definitely can tell this is not my color story. And with this performance, I will not keep it. So that's another thing. Trying the dupe one can give you an idea whether this color story is yours. Especially this is for eyeshadows, maybe blushes, as well as lips as well. While we're doing the lips, we are having random generated the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lucky Diamonds, and then a lip gloss by Savvy by Designer brand. It's called the Lip Balm in the shade Shimmer. So it's just a pure shimmer color. And for the lipstick, we've got another sheer one. Sheer, also diamond looking. So I'm going to do that over my lips. It's a quite dry formula actually. It looks like I applied a lip gloss, but I actually applied a lipstick. I actually quite like this. I have similar lipstick in this, but coming from Marc Jacobs, which you can no longer purchase. If you would enjoy things like this, or you have the Marc Jacobs one, I think the Charlotte Tilbury is a great option to choose from. I do like this look. Like, it's very subtle, very calm, nothing too special, not outstanding. Now we're going to test it out. The last thing is the OXX Make It Stay Setting Spray. I haven't used it, so let's just see the nozzle first. It's a very short, narrow nozzle, and I'm going to test it out if they're fine. Mists on my face now. They're not super fine. Definitely a little bit strong. And they have a scent. Is it aloe vera? Yes, it says with aloe vera. It has a strong aloe vera scent. And that is different to the MAC setting spray because I have that one. It has some droplets on my face. It feels very moisturizing. It didn't ruin my makeup. I will put this into my second round of testing of my makeup setting spray. If you want to know the first round, which including the Amca Beauties, Charlotte Tilbury's, Urban Decay, Makeup Forever, Australia's, and NYX's new glue setting spray, watch that video if you are interested. And just wrapping up the video of the whole topic of duping, my bottom line, like I said earlier, packaging I prefer not to dupe. They can be expired. Like all mascara is going to look very similar and the wand can be looking similar, but you don't necessarily have to dupe like the logo is exactly the same, or you don't have to dupe like the shade of the cap exactly the same. This can definitely be changed and improved, but at the end of the day, what I'm looking at is the product itself is worth it. If it's only $10–15 difference with having similar product performance, I would like to support whichever product came out first, because they obviously done more studies to it. I know high-end brand had to hire celebrities, doing advertisements, PR, sending out packages as well, and investment of testing, trialing all these products. Absolutely spend a lot of money and effort and time into it. So I do really appreciate it, but I also feel like a lot of times the high-end one are overpriced, where everything is inflating. I wouldn't spend $100 on saying an eyeshadow palette, $60 on a setting spray. I will only get it if it's on a sale. So maybe they could come up with more sales to keep the customers, or just to make us actually be able to purchase when we were really wanting to, but we're unable to. So we don't have to go for the dupe ones. But I would also hope the duping brands, you can come up with something your own. I know the risk is the high-end one will overtake yours the same. So it's the same thing, vice versa. I hope you come up with your own ones and people will be like, you're not just a duping brand, you have your own product, you were inspired, but now you're having your own thing. Which I think over time people will change the opinions of the brand. You might have a different look. I would like to see more brands come out with different things, and they might end up become a very positive competition situation, because if they're all just cheap but no good product, we're so doomed as customers, although we're not spending a lot, but we're not good on the face. If they're all high-end ones, they're good, but they're super expensive and no one's challenging them, then they're gonna keep charging very high expensive tax. Some is because, you know, they're just a luxury brand. They have a name of the brand and that name worth such and such. If you're supportive, you're good. Not everyone able to. So for those not so that product, you might came up with smaller size, more affordable, or bigger size, so you are more affordable per unit, or you came out with sales, better loyalty program, better gift with purchases, because, you know, as customers, especially for women, I don't know, every woman, obviously that's too generated. For me, myself, sales, gifts, loyalty program, I would always go for it. I would go for it to keep my loyalty program, to stay as a VIP if I can, to purchase a little here and there. So come up with new things with better deals. You keep your customers and you gain extra customers as well. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you like today's video. Now feeling the makeup setting spray is definitely fully set, and I like how it didn't change anything on my face. So I really enjoyed it. It's just the bronzer I have to try a little bit more. If I have an update, I'll keep into my YouTube shorts, so keep up for that. But yeah, all in all, I think we're having a quite success video today. I'm not going to try this one because I'm happy with the lip. The only thing that I can see myself decluttering is definitely the foundation, and I am so glad I have one less foundation in my collection after give it one last time trial. That is all for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did and watched all the way here, thank you so much, and consider giving me a like, subscribe. I will have a whole playlist of get ready with me's, and yeah, you can watch that if you like while you're putting on your makeup. And I hope everyone stays safe and stay positive. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.